What is the role of traditional leadership in nation building? When I talk of traditional leadership, I am particularly referring to our chiefs in the various communities, from our Asante, that is Otunfo, and then the various, chiefs from Northern region to Achim to the several places. The various chiefs. Is there any role that they do or they have? A very significant role. Unfortunately, there is a twist which we will be having deeper discussions in. It seems as though our adoption of the Westminster approach of governance, that is through democracy, and then the legislature or legislative, the executive, and then the judiciary, it has seemed to sideline our chiefs. Before the adoption of the Westminster approach of governance, our chiefs were the sole people that had, when it comes to societal business, they had it on their minds or as their responsibility. After adoption, the constitution did not do well to properly integrate them in that machinery. So the kings and the chiefs of Ghana today, they are occupying more of ceremonial roles, unlike the times of old where they used to have a lot of influence. Their influence is still there, albeit a bit reduced and compromised, because we have drifted a bit more towards the Westminster approach. That is the legislature, and then the executive, and then the judiciary. These things require further discussions and then a corporate national consensus on how to properly integrate our chiefs or our traditional leadership in the overall machinery of national development. But this is what I'll say for now. What is the role of traditional leadership? One or two that I'll touch on. One is that our chiefs or traditional leaders have the role of building and maintaining the spirit of communalism. Very, very important. That is the community consciousness. It is the duty of the chiefs to start raising the consciousness of the people to be committed to what? Communalism. That is what makes Africa unique from Western world. You see, the concept of individualism is so much entrenched in the Western world, but for us, we believe in communalism. Unfortunately, we are breaking the spine of communalism and we are adopting at a faster pace the idea or the concept of individualism, which is not very good for us. So, it is the role of the traditional leaders to uphold and make sure that when it comes to the aspect of what? Communalism or the spirit of communalism, it is active. Out of that communalism, we can drive community-based developmental projects. It should no more be seen that we have people having interviews of places and communities. And then they'll be telling that, oh, yeah, trying to buy no, seb yo ekromuha, ye ni ya ne waha. Come on, a whole community with a chief. What has happened to communal labor? What has happened to the need to have community discussions? That the community itself, this is a pressing societal problem. Should we always wait for the government to come and then take care of a place that we can have or ease ourselves? That is pathetic. It is borrowed from what? The entitlement mentality and dependency syndrome, which happens to be part of the evils, or shall I say the sins that I've already spoken about. So this is it. The community and the communal labor, the spirit of communalism, having their best where there is communal or community-based discussions for corporate developmental projects. These are stuff that the responsibility lies on the shoulders of our traditional leadership. And I am beseeching very humbly our traditional leaders to take a critical look at that. What else? Apart from that, the traditional leaders also have the role of contributing by virtue of cultural adjustment in terms of value systems. a typical example is that of, funerals and then our marriages. There is a need for our traditional leaders to enact certain basic laws that will uphold certain key values. Ewo mu se amamre yento ntwene. Nanso sebio inome bi wo ho a it was relevant for a period. Ye nananom de buy because it was relevant for a period. And I don't think if ye nananom etia say ena they would have even thought of bringing those things. Culture is dynamic. Any people that says that oh ye they say na ye tie, say na ye nananom di ja ye in the say na be there would never be development. I am not saying that we should ransack and then throw away or jettison the precious values that they have passed on over to us. Of course, in our indigenous culture, there are several very precious and then juicy values that they have, brought to us. And we must maintain them and uphold them. However, those ones which has outlived its usefulness, especially those ones which were steeped in unnecessary superstitious belief systems, we must take them off. And in place of that, bring on board some cultural shift, dynamic value system that is going to help the progression of the society. Let me just give one example that is on the funerals. I believe strongly, say, emre eldru se ewo se nkanka se de ye de adwen esi matters of a funeral. I don't think it is very progressive. To me, I feel we waste a lot of precious time, resources, money, attention just on funerals. In the name of honoring the dead, we overstretch it and it has become a whole business on its own. And we are just becoming less productive because we will spend so much time, so much effort, so much money on these things. Asebio, you and I know that enko bebia. Enti obia wa abusuanu ma ne ho kire no, I come de no. O je say, oje no wanje, ye betwa nabo. Na yakoti ebia 50,000, 80,000. Say, oh, ye pese ye eye kese. These are the things I'm talking about, that it is a product of the weakness of our value systems. And that is the role of traditional leadership, because they are the harbingers of the value systems when it comes to culture. It is their responsibility to be meeting the elders and then the people and then enacting cultural laws. That if say yes, we must have some decorum, but we must not overstretch it. And what else? I believe that we must take a critical look at our constitution, especially when it comes to issues of land reforms. But it is too technical for this conversation. So I'll pause now, and then in later conversations, we will be looking at the distortion between the land issues in the hands of the kings and chiefs and then being isolated from the machinery of governance. That is the role of traditional leadership in nation building. Thank you.